Howdy pards, Mr. Holster here, just having some lemon cranberry beet juice. Yeah. I want to show you this. My next door neighbor, well actually he's not my next door neighbor, we went through this before. A friend of mine that I've made a friend. It's hard to believe Mr. Holster might actually have a friend. And he brought me a couple belated birthday presents here. And this one I wanted to share. Well, I'm going to share them both with you because I got nothing to talk about here. And this one here is kind of interesting though. And I knew they had these, and this I am glad he gave me I'm glad he gave me both of them, but we'll get to that later. Because I've got that Russian shotgun. Now this is not an issue with my double-barreled shotguns, because double-barreled shotguns are I've got several Rossi double-barreled Overland coach guns, which have hammers on them. This is not an issue, but you shouldn't be storing your old double-barrel shotguns that are hammerless when you open them and then close them. They're cocked, and if you leave them stored like that, it's gonna tire out the spring. So you should that's why they always keep them in these cases. They're broken down in the cases and not cocked. And well, not me, I keep them in the gun safe put together, so you have to fire them. When you put them together, you have to dry fire them, take the pressure off the spring. You really don't want to dry fire them. Well, he brought me these Carlson snap caps. Have a little, oh good you can see that, have a little wool mop on the end that I guess presumably you spray a little oil on that and you put it in there, and it's a snap cap so you can fire those, dry fire that thing and put it away to store it, and there won't be the pressure on the springs on the hammers, and it'll keep your bore, or yeah, well not your bore, your chamber, keep your chamber from rusting. I kind of on that, but I suppose you put oil on it, it probably will. It's kind of an attractive thing for moisture to go to these, so I'm kind of on that, but I guess that's why you oil them up. You have to oil them up. But nice to have the snap caps in there. And I won't, because I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking that maybe that the spring on the hammers might not outlast me. Like it matters at this point. But yeah, nice to have that, put that in there. Here's the other thing he brought me, which was very nice of him. Yeah. This firearm, because I haven't had a new firearm in a long time. This Cimarron Uberti Remington 1858 Army, but it's an 1858 Army conversion. So it's not a black powder, it's made to shoot modern ammunition. It's a 45 Colt conversion. Kind of, yeah, really nice. Very, very nice. So I'm kind of excited about that, because black powder, the only black powder guns I've ever owned have been the Remington 1858s, because yeah, they have that one-piece frame around the cylinder instead of the old Colt or with the wedge thing, you know. But I do have one of those. That gun that was in that Robert Urich pilot for Lazarus. I don't really count that, it's a prop gun, but I've owned several of these over the years, the Uberti black powder version of this gun, and I've always wanted to have a conversion one, just because I think it's kind of neat. And so you'll probably be seeing this in future videos. Kind of excited about that. Something new to play with. So there you go. There's the show for this morning. Our coffee in the tack room, which turned out to be that beet whatever. Before I leave you, I want to tell you a little story, because And I've told this story before, but I was thinking about it today because it was a rainy day, and I'm still bringing up the hay from the hayfield, and it's a mile journey to get it up here. So there's a little bit of time involved in it. You got a lot of time to think, put it that way. And it was raining today while I was doing it at the end. And I started to think about a story that I guess it would be my great uncle, my grandfather, and his brother. They were from Mountain, North Dakota. That's where they were raised. And their parents were immigrants from Iceland. And at any rate, my grandfather was a baseball player in college, and in the summertime, he was a really good pitcher, I guess. And in the summertime, he'd travel on this team that would go around and play. And a lot of towns had their own little teams, and they'd be playing. And at any rate, he was on this team, and he actually played professional ball for a while back then. And well, actually, those little summer deals were professional ball. They were paid to play on this team. But at any rate, after he retired, when he was in his late 60s, early 70s, he convinced his brother Snorri that to come with him. He wanted to take a trip on and go around and look at where all the ball fields where he played that last summer of college. And so Snorri agreed to go with him, and the two of them went out and drove through these towns out there in North, South Dakota, wherever the entire area was. And a lot of the ball fields were still there, and they made a little week trip out of that and had some fun. And Snorri used to tell this story that one night they stopped at one ball field, and they were debating whether to stop for the night or go to the next one because it was getting late, but it was the summertime, so the sun wasn't going to be setting till 9:30, 10 o'clock. They could make it to the next ball field that was X miles away, say 100 miles away, whatever it was. And they went back and forth, and they decided Matt, my grandfather, decided he wanted to go and knock that one off that day too. And Snorri said, I don't know, the weather is kind of dicey looking up ahead. I think we should really quit for the night and find a hotel room. And Matt convinced him, no, let's go ahead. It's too early to quit. So they went ahead and drove on, and as they progressed, it got darker and darker and darker to the point where they had to turn their lights on to see, and it was raining, just pouring rain. And they're driving down the road, and Snorri looks down at the speedometer and goes, Matt, I hate to complain, but you're driving down the center of the road doing 65, and I can't see 20 feet in front of me. And Matt said, well, so? And he says, well, what if we hit somebody? And Matt said to him, don't worry about it. There's nobody out driving right now. Only an idiot would be on the road right now. And I just was thinking of that story. Thought I'd pass it on. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Till next time, from Mr. Holster and Jack, go out and stay safe. That's 9 minutes and 20 seconds of your life you'll never, ever get back again.